Have you ever noticed that worry can steal your energy even before anything bad actually happens? Have you ever tried to calm your mind by thinking harder, only to feel more trapped inside your own head? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about how to worry less in hard times through Buddhist wisdom that works in ordinary life, not by pretending everything is fine, not by forcing yourself to feel positive, but by training the mind to see clearly, to soften without collapsing, and to act with compassion in steady courage. I want to offer two guiding truths before we step into the story. The first is that hard times do not only test your circumstances, they test your relationship with your mind. The second is that worry often feels like responsibility, but most worry is not useful planning. It is suffering paid in advance for a future that may never arrive. Let me tell you a story about someone I will call Ava. Ava is not special. That is the point. Ava is the kind of person who could be you, or your friend, or someone you sit beside every day without knowing what they carry inside. Ava did not wake up one day and decide to be anxious. Worry grew slowly, like a vine. It started as ordinary concern, then became a habit, then became a reflex, then became a background hum that followed Ava everywhere. It was not that Ava ever had good moments. Ava could laugh, could work, could show up, could help others. But even in quiet moments there was a voice that said, "Do not relax, something is coming." Then hard times arrived, not the movie kind, not one dramatic scene, but the realistic kind, the kind that comes in waves. A job situation became uncertain. Family members started having health issues. Prices rose, plans changed, friends seemed stressed and distant. The world felt louder, and Ava felt smaller. At first Ava told herself that worry was reasonable. Anyone would worry. And yes, anyone would. But what made Ava suffer was not only the external difficulty, it was the way the mind responded to difficulty by creating endless rehearsal. Every night the mind ran through worst possibilities like it was training for disaster. Ava would lie in bed and argue with imaginary conversations. Ava would try to solve problems that were not yet real. Ava would try to control outcomes that were not controllable. Ava also began to notice something painful. The more she worried, the less present she became. She would sit with a loved one and half her attention would be elsewhere, scanning the future. She would eat but not taste. She would walk but not see. She would hear someone speak but not receive it fully because the mind was already writing the next fear. One day, Ava had a moment that changed something. It happened in a grocery store line of all places. A small moment, but those are often the moments where awakening begins. Ava was standing in line, tired, and the line was moving slowly. Someone ahead was fumbling with payment. People behind sighed. Ava felt the familiar irritation, then the familiar worry, then the familiar tightening in the chest. The mind said, "This is wasting time. You have too much to do. You are falling behind. Everything is slipping." Then Ava noticed a man in front of her, maybe in his 60s, standing quietly. He did not look bored. He did not look rushed. He looked present, not dreamy, present. His shoulders were relaxed. His breathing looked slow. He was not trying to win the moment. He was simply in it. Ava felt a strange curiosity. How is he calm right now? Does he not have problems? Does he not know the world is difficult? When the line finally moved, the man turned slightly and smiled as if he sensed the tension in the room. He said a simple sentence, almost to himself, but loud enough to be heard. "This moment is not my enemy. Ava felt something inside pause, not because the sentence solved her problems, but because it pointed to a different way of meeting the moment. Outside the store, the man sat on a bench. Ava surprised herself by sitting on the other end of the bench. She did not intend to speak, but the words came out before she could shape them. "How do you stay calm like that?" The man looked at her without judgment. "Calm is not my personality," he said. "Calm is my practice." Ava asked what he meant by practice. He introduced himself as Ken. He said, "I used to worry constantly. I thought it meant I cared. I thought it meant I was preparing. But it was mostly my mind trying to control what cannot be controlled. It drained my life. Then I found Buddhist teachings, not as a belief, but as training." Ava felt skeptical, but she also felt tired enough to listen. She asked, "What kind of training?" Ken said, "The training is to separate what is happening from what the mind adds. Hard times bring real challenges, but worry often adds extra suffering. Buddhism teaches you to face reality directly and stop adding unnecessary suffering on top." Ava said, "I do not know how to stop. My mind just goes." Ken nodded. "Of course it does. A mind repeats what it has practiced, but it can practice something else." He told Ava about a small community center nearby where a teacher offered simple sessions. Ava almost made an excuse. Time, energy, shame. Then Ava remembered how it felt to wake up tired from worry, like she had been working all night without pay. She decided to go once, just once. That evening, Ava walked into a simple room with chairs and cushions and quiet lighting. No performance, no pressure. A teacher named Mira greeted her. Mira looked ordinary, and that made Ava trust her more, because the calm did not feel like a costume. It felt like something earned through practice. Ava told Mira the truth. "I cannot stop worrying. Hard times are happening, and my mind is making it worse." Mira nodded gently. "That is not unusual. Many minds confuse worry with care. Let us begin by learning the difference between care and worry." Mira asked Ava to sit and feel the breath, not to force it, just to feel it. Inhale, exhale. Ava tried, and within seconds the mind wandered. A future scene appeared. A memory appeared. A fear appeared. Ava felt frustrated. Mira smiled. "If the mind wanders, that is not failure. That is information. You are finally seeing the mind clearly." Ava said, "But it is so loud." Mira said, "Yes. A mind that has been fed by worry becomes loud. We will not shout back at it. We will train it." Then Mira gave Ava a sentence that became a turning point. "Worry is a habit of imagination. Wisdom is a habit of presence." Ava asked, "How do I build presence when the future feels dangerous?" Mira said, "We will walk step by step. Hard times require the skills, clear seeing and warm heart. Clear seeing prevents panic. Warm heart prevents hardness." Mira began to teach Ava in stories, because stories bypass the arguing mind. She told Ava about a traveler walking at dusk who sees a rope on the road and panics, believing it is a snake. The traveler suffers fear, heart racing, sweat rising, body shaking. Then a lantern is lifted, and the traveler sees it is only a rope. The snake was never there, but the fear was real. Mira said, "Worry is often the rope mistaken as a snake. Not always. Sometimes there is a real snake. But your mind creates many snakes that are only ropes. If you want to worry less, you must learn to lift the lantern. The lantern is awareness." Ava asked what awareness looks like. Mira said, "Awareness is the ability to notice what is happening in the mind without being owned by it. You notice a thought as a thought. You notice a feeling as a feeling. You notice a story as a story. Then you choose the next wise step. Eva said, but the problems are real. Mir added, yes, Buddhism does not deny problems. Buddhism removes unnecessary suffering so you have more strength to meet real problems. Over the next weeks, Eva returned to the center. Not every day. Eva still had responsibilities, but Eva came often enough to learn a new rhythm. And slowly, the rhythm began to show up in hard moments. One hard moment happened on an ordinary Tuesday. Eva received a message from work that sounded uncertain. Nothing was decided, but the uncertainty was enough to light the worry fire. Eva felt it instantly, like a spark in dry grass. The mind started running. This is it. You will lose stability. You will not be able to handle it. You will disappoint people. Your future is collapsing. Eva sat at her desk and felt the body tighten. She remembered what Mira said about lantern. She paused and asked herself a simple question. What do I know for sure right now? Right now, Eva knew only that a message existed, and that uncertainty existed. The rest was imagination. That small distinction mattered. The worry did not vanish, but it lost some authority. Eva took one breath and named what was happening. Fear is here. Thinking is racing. The body is tense. Mira had taught her that naming is not a trick. It is a return to reality. When you name, you stop blending with the storm. You step slightly out of it. Then Eva asked another question Mira taught her. What is the next wise action? Sometimes the next wise action is to gather information. Sometimes it is to communicate calmly. Sometimes it is to do nothing for a moment and let the mind settle so you do not create damage. Eva chose one clear action. She sent a simple message asking for clarification. Then she returned to her work. The mind tried to drag her back into rehearsal, but Eva practiced returning again and again. That evening, the mind still tried to worry, but Eva remembered another teaching Mira offered. Planning has an end. Worry has no end. Mira had explained it like this. Planning is when you identify what you can do. You do it. Then you stop. Worry is when you pretend you are doing something useful, but you are actually chewing the same thought until you bleed. Eva began practicing a new boundary with her own mind. If there is a real action to take, take it. If there is no action, return to the present. This became one of the most powerful changes in her life, because the mind loves to feel busy, and worry feels busy. But busy is not the same as wise. Another hard time arrived. A family member had health issues, and Eva felt fear for someone she loved. This fear was not imaginary. It was real. Eva went to the hospital and sat in a waiting area. The smell, the lighting, the quiet tension in the air, everything stirred worry. Eva felt a wave of helplessness. Mira had prepared her for this kind of moment. She had said, when you cannot control outcomes, focus on what you can control. Your presence, your kindness, your breath, your next action. Eva sat and breathed slowly, feeling the feet on the ground. She did not deny fear. She did not pretend. She simply stopped feeding fear with catastrophic stories. Then Eva practiced compassion, not only for her family member, but for herself. She placed a hand on her chest and silently said, "This is hard, and I am human." That self-compassion did not solve the medical situation, but it prevented Eva from breaking under her own inner violence. A nurse walked by, and Eva noticed the exhaustion on the nurse's face. Eva felt a small tenderness. In that tenderness, Eva found a surprising thing. Worry lessened when compassion grew. Mira later explained why. Worry keeps you trapped in self-centered fear. Compassion widens the heart. When the heart widens, the mind has more space. That space is peace. Ava started to see that hard times can do two very different things. They can make you cling tighter, or they can make you wake up. Mira taught Ava a simple phrase that became an anchor during hard times. Do not let fear drive. Let wisdom drive. Ava asked what wisdom means here. Mira said wisdom is seeing clearly, not being blind, not being dramatic. Wisdom sees what is real, sees what is not known, sees what is possible, sees what is not in your control, and then chooses the most compassionate and skillful response. Ava began to practice this in small moments as well, because small moments train you for big moments. In traffic, when someone drove aggressively, Ava felt anger rise, then worry rise. The old pattern was to replay the stay tense. Now Ava practiced one breath. She noticed the impulse to shoot a second arrow. The story of how people are terrible in the world is dangerous. She chose not to feed that story. She drove carefully, arrived safely, and did not carry poison into her evening. In conversations, when someone spoke sharply, Ava felt the mind start making assumptions. They hate me. I am being judged. This will get worse. Ava practiced returning to facts. A sharp tone happened. That is all she knew. She asked a calm question instead of reacting. Sometimes the other person apologized. Sometimes they stayed sharp. Either way, Ava did not turn it into endless self-torture. As Ava practiced, she noticed something else. Worry was often unfueled by a craving for certainty. The mind believed that if it could be certain, it could be safe. But life does not offer permanent certainty. Hard times make that obvious. Mira said, if you demand certainty, you will suffer. If you learn to tolerate uncertainty, you become strong. Ava asked, how do I tolerate it? Mira said, you begin by admitting the truth. I do not know. Then you add trust. I can respond wisely. Then you add compassion. I can be gentle while I respond. This was not a slogan. It was a new inner posture. Ava tried it in a night spiral. She was lying in bed and the mind was running. What if the medical test is bad? What if work becomes unstable? What if everything collapses? Ava whispered, I do not know. The mind resisted because the mind wants a conclusion. Ava stayed with the truth. I do not know. Then she added, I can respond wisely. Then she added, I can be gentle. She returned to the breath. The worry did not disappear instantly, but the spiral weakened. She fell asleep sooner. Over time, Ava learned one of the deepest lessons. Worry often feels like love, but love without wisdom becomes suffering. Ava used to worry about everyone. She worried about her family, her friends, her future, the world. She thought it meant she cared, but she began to see that constant worry did not help the people she loved. It made her less present, less patient, less kind, less capable of real support. When Ava worried less, she had more energy to actually help. She could listen without panic. She could speak calmly. She could offer practical support. She could be steady. Mira said, this is the paradox. When you stop wasting energy on worry, you gain energy for compassion. Compassion is useful. Worry is mostly noise. Ava asked if Buddhism expects people to be calm all the time. Mira shook her head. No. Buddhism expects you to be honest. Calm is not a requirement. Returning is the practice. Even if you are calm for 2 breaths, that is practice. Even if you are worried again, you return again. Eva began to understand the idea of karma in a new way. Karma was not fate. Karma was training. Whatever you repeat becomes your mind. If Eva repeated worry, worry would become the default path. If Eva repeated returning to breath, the return would become the default path. If Eva repeated compassion, compassion would become easier. If Eva repeated wise action, confidence would grow. This was not mystical. It was cause and effect in her nervous system. Hard times continued. Some problems improved. Some new problems appeared. That is life. But Eva's relationship with worry changed. She still cared. She still planned when needed. She still felt fear sometimes. But she stopped living inside fear. One day, months later, Eva returned to the grocery store where she first met Ken. She found herself in another slow line. The old Eva would have felt tension. The new Eva felt a quiet smile rise, not because she loved waiting, but because she was no longer enslaved by urgency. A person behind her sighed loudly. Eva turned slightly and offered a gentle smile. The person softened a bit, almost surprised. Eva remembered the phrase Ken said, "This moment is not my enemy." Now I want to step out of the story for a moment and speak to you directly as the host. Because if you are in hard times right now, you might not need philosophy. You need something you can carry into tomorrow morning. Worry often has three hidden illusions. It pretends it is control. It pretends it is preparation. It pretends it is protection. But most worry is not any of those. Most worry is the mind trying to avoid the discomfort of not knowing. Buddhist wisdom offers a different approach. Feel the discomfort of not knowing with breath and compassion, and then do the next wise action. That is strength. That is courage. That is peace. If you want to practice this in a simple way, begin by noticing when worry starts. Noticing is not small. Noticing means you are already waking up. Then ask, is there a real action to take? If yes, take it calmly. If no, return to the present. Return to breath. Return to the body. Return to what is actually true right now. Return to kindness. Hard times do not require you to be perfect. Hard times require you to be steady enough to keep choosing wisdom. Now, let me share a reflection that often creates the deepest shift. Many people fear hard times because they believe hard times will take away peace forever. But peace is not a fragile object you lose once and never find again. Peace is a skill. Peace is a relationship with reality. And hard times can become the training ground where peace becomes real. When everything is easy, it is easy to feel calm. When life is hard, calm becomes practice. That practice becomes inner strength. Inner strength becomes freedom. I have seen people who worry constantly become exhausted and sharp, not because they are bad, but because worry burns their nervous system. I have also seen people who learned to meet fear with awareness become more kind, more grounded, and more useful to their loved ones. The difference was not that their lives became perfect. The difference was that they stopped feeding the worry fire all day long. Now we arrive at the closing reflection, the part where I invite you into your own story. If you are going through hard times, you do not need to shame yourself for worrying. Worry is a human habit, but you can train a different habit. Each time you return to breath, you are planting a seed. Each time you choose wise action instead of rehearsal, you are planting a seed. Each time you treat yourself with compassion, you are planting a seed. Seeds grow. Hard times will still be hard, but you can suffer less. You can live more. You can be present for the people you love. You can protect your mind from unnecessary storms. I would love to hear from you. What kind of worry shows up most in your life right now? Is it worry about health, money, relationships, school, work, or the future in general? Share what you can in the comments. And if there is a practice that helps you return to calm, share that too, because someone reading might need exactly your words today. If you want more long-form Buddhist wisdom in everyday language, subscribe to the channel, like the video, so it reaches people who are quietly struggling with fear in hard times. And if you want to support the channel in a deeper way, consider becoming a member so we can keep creating teachings you can return to whenever your mind feels heavy. Until next time, remember this: hard times are real, but you do not have to add extra suffering. Let wisdom guide your attention. Let compassion soften your heart. Let the breath bring you back. And keep returning, because returning is how peace becomes your home.